The first rule of being a time traveler is simple. Don't fall in love with your target. I, Lydia Croft, had broken that rule spectacularly. For 3 years, I'd been sent back to observe Xander Graves, the man history books would call the architect of ruin, responsible for the climate collapse that would wipe out half of humanity by 2075. My mission was simple: document his rise to power and find the precise moment to eliminate him. Instead, I documented the way his eyes softened when he thought no one was watching and found myself falling for the man the future feared most. Tonight was different. The Temporal Integrity Commission had lost patience. My handler's voice crackled in my hidden comm unit. Lydia, this is your final warning. Extract the data on his Genesis project or we're pulling you out. Permanently. I watched Xander across the crowded charity gala, his hand resting protectively on the small of my back, as he always did. How could this man, who funded children's hospitals and environmental research, become the monster my timeline knew? You're quiet tonight, Xander murmured, his breath warm against my ear. Trouble at the lab? I forced a smile. Just thinking about your speech tomorrow. The world is waiting to hear about Genesis. His eyes darkened. Some secrets aren't meant for the world, Lydia. Not yet. Later, in his penthouse, I made my choice. While he slept, I accessed his private server. But what I found wasn't blueprints for destruction. It was something far more terrifying. Project Genesis wasn't a weapon. It was a cure. And my people from the future weren't trying to stop him. They were trying to steal it. The data swam before my eyes: genetic sequences, atmospheric recalibration matrices, everything needed to reverse the coming collapse. The Temporal Integrity Commission hadn't sent me to prevent disaster. They'd sent me to ensure it happened, then steal the solution for their own selective implementation. We weren't the heroes. We were the villains. Find what you were looking for? I spun around. Xander stood in the doorway, fully dressed, his expression unreadable. He knew. He'd always known. How long? I whispered, my hand drifting toward the emergency extraction device on my wrist. Since the beginning. He stepped forward, and for the first time, I saw the weight of centuries in his eyes. You're not the first they've sent, Lydia. But you're the first I've let get this close. My comm unit crackled to life. Agent Croft, abort mission. He's aware. Initiate termination protocol. Xander moved faster than I thought possible, his hand closing around my wrist. They'll kill you the moment you transport back. You know too much. Then what choice do I have? I breathed, my heart hammering against my ribs. His other hand came up to cradle my face, surprisingly gentle. Choose me. Choose the truth. In that moment, the windows of the penthouse shattered. Men in temporal armor rappelled inside, not for my time, but from a competing faction. The room exploded into chaos, and Xander shoved me behind him, a weapon I'd never seen him carry appearing in his hand. Seems we have more immediate problems, he said, firing at the intruders. Your friends brought company. We fought back to back in the dark, the whine of energy weapons filling the air. Xander moved with a precision that spoke of training I never knew he had. He wasn't just a scientist, he was a soldier. A revolutionary. When the last intruder fell, he grabbed my hand. We have to move. They'll send more. Where? I asked, my training warring with the betrayal burning in my chest. Somewhere they can't find us. He activated a device on his wrist, not a time travel unit, but something different. The world shimmered around us, and when it cleared, we stood in a laboratory that made his public facilities look primitive. Welcome to the real Genesis project, he said, his hand still tight around mine. And, before you ask, no, I'm not from your time either. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. What? I'm from further ahead than you, from where people would call 2150. The collapse, you know? I lived through it. He turned to face me, his eyes blazing with intensity. I came back to stop it. Your commission works for the regime that profits from the ruined world. They don't want to prevent the catastrophe. They want to manage it. One of his scientists, a woman with worry lines around her eyes, approached. Xander, we have a problem. The temporal signature from your jump. They've locked onto it. We have maybe an hour. He never took his eyes off me. I need to know whose side you're on, Lydia. The future of our past depends on it. Why I was really sent to observe Xander finally became clear. The commission hadn't just wanted me to document his work. They wanted me close to him for a far more personal reason. My mother, I whispered, pieces falling into place. She died in the first wave of the collapse. The commission told me they couldn't save her because they were the ones who gave the order, Xander finished gently. Her research threatened their control, just as mine does. He led me to a viewing screen showing news footage from 20 years ago, my mother, vibrant and alive, speaking at a conference about atmospheric restoration. The date on the footage was 3 years after she was supposed to have died. She's alive? My voice broke. All this time. I brought her forward, Xander said. She's been working with us, safe in a pocket dimension. The commission used your grief to manipulate you, Lydia. They knew your personal connection would make you the perfect agent. The truth shattered me. Every memory I'd cherished, every moment of grief I'd carried, all manufactured. The commission hadn't just lied about Xander. They'd rebuilt my entire identity around a false tragedy. Show me, I demanded, tears streaming down my face. Take me to her. Xander's expression softened. I will. But first, we have to survive what's coming. He gestured to the main screen, where temporal signatures were converging on our location. They're not just coming for the research anymore. They're coming for you. The air in the lab grew thick with the ozone scent of impending temporal incursions. Xander's team moved with practiced efficiency, securing data drives and activating defense systems I never knew existed. Your mother isn't just part of our team, Xander said as he input commands at a console. She's the reason Genesis exists. Her research from 20 years ago provided the foundation. One of his lead scientists, Dr. Eris, handed me a data chip. Your mother asked me to give you this when the time was right. She knew they'd send you eventually. The chip contained a video file. When I played it, my mother's face filled the screen, older than I remembered, but with the same fierce intelligence in her eyes. Lydia, if you're seeing this, it means you've found Xander. And it means I was right to trust him. She leaned closer to the recording device. The commission will tell you many things about me, about why I had to disappear. The truth is, I discovered their plan to weaponize the climate crisis. Xander is trying to stop them. Help him, my darling. Trust him. The video ended as alarms blared through the facility. Red lights strobed across the laboratory. They're here, Dr. Eris said, her voice tight. Multiple incursions, all temporal classes. Xander came to stand beside me, his shoulder brushing mine. I need you to make a choice, Lydia. Come with me to the safe zone, or use your extraction device. But if you choose me, there's no going back. I thought of the lies, the manipulation, the mother I'd mourned who is still alive. I thought of the man beside me who'd risked everything to save a world that would never know his name. I reached for his hand. I'm not going anywhere. His fingers intertwined with mine, and in that moment, the main doors exploded inward. The fight was unlike anything I'd trained for. These weren't just soldiers, they were temporal agents like me, moving in and out of time streams, their positions shifting with every blink. Xander fought with a ferocity that stunned me, using technology I'd never seen to create temporal bubbles that froze attackers in place. We can't hold them off much longer, Dr. Eris shouted over the chaos. Xander pulled me close, his mouth near my ear. There's one option left, but it's dangerous. Anything, I said, firing at an agent who materialized too close. The Genesis device, it's not just for atmospheric repair. It can create a temporal lockdown, freezing this facility outside time. But someone has to stay behind to regulate the power flow. I understood what he wasn't saying. You're planning to sacrifice yourself. Before he could answer, a familiar voice cut through the noise. Stand down, Agent Croft. My handler stepped through the smoke, temporal rifle aimed at Xander's heart. You've been compromised. Step away from the target. All the training, all the lies, all the moments of doubt crystallized into one perfect, clear choice. I moved to stand between them, my own weapon rising. I'm not your agent anymore, I said, my voice steady for the first time in years. Xander's hand found the small of my back, the same protective gesture he'd used that first night, but now it felt like a promise. Together, he murmured. My handler's smile was cold. A shame. You would have made an excellent director. As he fired, Xander activated the device. The world dissolved into light and sound, and the last thing I felt was his arms around me, holding me as empires fell and something new began to rise from the ruins. Subscribe for more stories where love walks the razor's edge between vengeance and obsession.